in the knife treatment, which is basically where I fix crappy topology with a knife. This is our victim. I personally don't have too much of an issue with it, well, except for the eyes, and the fact is, like, there's a hole right there, and this is a mess. But my issue is, I've noticed when people are doing professional rings, they have O shapes around the mouths instead of the grid cut, so I want to see what that does and if it's a proper fit for my models. Because when it comes to tutorials and stuff, it's great to follow tutorials, but it's also great to check what works for what you're making and what you're modeling. At least that's what I believe, because even if there is like a tutorial like, ooh, this is the best way to do it, I feel like there's rarely only ever one solution to things. Unless it's hard-coded that way, which would be sad. It's a creative app, let me find ways to ruin my thing in more creative ways. I don't know, I think that'd be funny. Or sad. Probably sad. Oh no, I think my mom's coming up the stairs. See what my mom has to say. Oh, that looks weird. Well, I am bewildered. But first, let's see if I can connect you to the outside topology. No idea why that happened. Oopsie. Nope. Tries the quads, fixes so many issues. It's not even funny. Why am I in circle select mode? I do not know. Ah, crap, I did it again. But we need a circle outline. I made this originally with half a sphere. Oh, no. Okay? Well, that's not gonna... I'm so confunded. I don't know if it's a soy or soy or conjugation. This is what I get because I took a Spanish class. Was never really good at it though. What if I just delete that? Okay, I didn't need that at all. That's nice to know. I still don't know what's going on. Raise that. Wait, do I need that spare vert right there? I can hear my mother walking around. I wonder what she's doing. My lovely mother, who I love very much. That song, I think it's about toxicity and when it comes to working in an industry like that. Oh, no, I need that, apparently. Oh, that's where that's supposed to tie in. Okay, I see. There we go. don't know how to make it go all the way. Oh. Do you consider this a loose vert? Let's see if you do. No, you're just being an asshole. Okay. I just called topology an asshole, and now I feel bad. Whoa, okay. No. Maybe get center. Dissolve. Okay. F. E. F. Command F tries the quads. M. There we go. That looks better. Oh, it's not gonna connect, but I'm not sure why. Oh geez, that's little. Oh geez, what's happening right there? Show no weakness, never let him say it to you. If you're less than perfect best. That song, it's such a good song, but again, I think it's about how you gotta, it feels like you gotta lie a lot to be. Why am I psychoanalyzing it? I'm pretty sure it's the intro for like an anime. I'm pretty sure it's about how you give up a lot to be an influencer, which a lot of people see as a dream, and I get it. You get to do and see a lot of things. But everything has advantages and disadvantages, and it's nice to see songs that show the nuance of that. The fact that some things are seen as ideal, but on the contrary, they can actually be exploitative and harmful in some or many ways. While it may change lives, it could be for better or for worse, which is an interesting. Oh, I feel like the Vocaloid song's spoken for me. Spoken for. I think it's spoken for. I'm not sure. It's one of those two titles. But that also covers in the same vein of the days go by so uniformly, silently controlled and considered for me. 'Cause, yeah, you do give up a lot of freedom to take on something like that. With every new opportunity, there will always be sacrifice, and sometimes it's really just not worth it. The poor UV mapping on that thing. It's going to hate me, most definitely. The days go by so uniformly, tightly controlled and considered for me, yeah. The days go by so uniformly, tightly controlled and considered for me. I get the messages, they just don't reach me. Oh, we've got something's wrong here. We were playing in the sand when you found a little bend. You told me you fell in love with it, hadn't gone as I planned. When you had to bid a zoo, said you never ever knew. I wondered if I could hold it and fall in love with it too. You told me to buy a pony, but all I wanted was you. You told me to buy a pony when all I wanted was you. Alright, now back to actually speaking like a normal person. I'm sorry. Ooh, we can use that as my outer loop, so I don't want to mess with it quite yet. So, how many rings do I want to do? I think I'll just replace this whole broken subdivided section that I did because yikes. You told me to buy a pony, but all I wanted was you. Buy a pony. I think I have to actually connect it first if it to become an edge loop. So I think I have to actually connect it to topology first. You told me to. I feel like I should delete. Maybe. Oh, come on. You told me to buy a pony, but all I wanted was you. Feels like an odd point to connect, honestly. I think I'll connect it here. Learning Blender is an interesting process. I never thought I'd have to really care about topology, and then I started animating things. Silly me. Silly, just silly old little me. Look at me being so silly. Uniformly, tightly controlled and considered. Couldn't guess or express if that feeling I recall. Okay, is that just a loose one? Yeah, that was a loose one. Look at me with my stupid little knife. Okay, another random tangent. I love watching object shows. If you don't know, well, only really one object show. I got hooked on it by a younger friend who showed me what they were and sent a few episodes like a few years ago, and now I'm absorbed into that. So thanks for that. It's so interesting how things quote unquote allegedly for kids can then become kind of dark because spoiler alert, in the latest episode, which is Teapot 20, if I upload this on time, come on, stop grabbing on my thing, you stupid, get out of here, no, edges, no, edges, shoo, oh my god, straight up kills somebody, and then tries to revive them, and then is forced to deal with the reality that is, well, mortality. Nobody's immortal, no matter how they try to game it. And that's horrifying to think about. You have a friend, you get mad, you think it's like an argument, but it's different. And you hurt them, you kill them. And then of course, nobody tries to help you fix it, and they lock you away in the moon for 16 years. I mean, one is absolutely a psychopath and kind of selfish, and kind of a selfish one at that, as psychopaths tend to be. But oh my god, the horror on her face when she realizes just what she's done. It also really goes to show, I think I saw this in the comments, but it goes to show that to some extent she was already violent, because her first solution to trying to get the magic out of the yoyolite, which in case you don't know is like this magic shiny rock that gave algebraians their powers, she punts, she's pretty violent with it, like I'm pretty sure she kicks it like off the side of the cliff. Imagine being just an ordinary day when you're suddenly granted godly, horrifying powers beyond your comprehension. And then you leave this place for a better life, with your cool new powers. You make a best friend. Oh, guess what? She got erased. Poor Katie. Such a cool character. We will never forget you, Periwinkle One. Wonder if it's true. Wonder what one really thinks of Katie, other than being a friend of two. It's interesting how she sees Katie and her first thought is like, oh, two made a friend, I can exploit this. Like, what the hell? I do hope that 3 goes back to normal, though. She did not. It really does feel like sort of a miscommunication. Because she knew how one reacted to just telling her. So why would you not, like, ask for some consent? Again, one is selfish and a maniac, but communication is key. And so is not crumbling people into tiny little bits in fits of rage. And she even uses her anger later to coerce a contestant into signing one of her deals. I think it was Barf Bag. How enraged do you have to be to just be like, alright, I'm done being a diplomat. Come with me or I squish your friend. I'm like half remembering the episode right now because, you know, I'm doing this and I haven't watched it in like, I don't know, since it came out. Other than that, it's scene packs. I love scene packs, by the way. Anyways, I guess, the FDI was really about the anger management issues we all need to fix along the way. Yay! And I guess about not killing your friends. Although 4 does need to learn the lesson that trapping people away for undisclosed amounts of time, alone or with others, is not very good for their mental health. I'm just glad the contestants in the exit didn't go as equally bat insane. I mean, Pencil very much wanted revenge because, oh, she was pissed. Again, sorry for all the random spoilers for an object show you're probably never going to watch, and if you were about to watch it, I'm really sorry. Only way to get up is to be boring. So sorry. Like, if you really were just about to go watch and you're just like, aw, shucks, I've had the whole plot ruined by me, by some freshly 18-year-old on Blender with a topology knife. Aw, shucks. Oh, sorry about that, says random freshly 18-year-old with a topology knife. The days go by so uniformly, tightly controlled. Alright, back to the random BFDI tangent. Let's see. I feel like the show can also be about miscommunication in other ways too. Or just about how you've held on to a grudge so long that you don't want to let it go. The show's in 1, as well sort of in book, because there was a whole plotline on how she didn't want to forgive Taco because she believes that she abandoned them, when in actuality she was stuck in a gumball. And when she finally got out, the response was like, oh, now I have to throw away my eulogies. Man, that was mean! You find out she's alive, and your first thought is, oh no, my eulogies are ruined. Days go by so uniformly, tightly controlled and considered for me, yeah. too full and love it all. Couldn't guess or express if that feeling I recall. Oh, right, taco, okay. So, and Taco gets books, like, I don't know, the friendship back by burning herself alive. Well, she does this to save, the lives of two contestants she cares for. Also, how small does Ice Cube have to get before she, like, fully cannot operate and has to be recovered? Because she was pretty small. Very, very small. So how small does she have to get before she loses sentience and becomes water puddle? I don't know, that's morbid, and I don't want it to become like a blocky funny doings. Oh yeah, there's a prank show that this one character runs called Blocky's Funny Doings. I'm pretty sure, like, gets full-on investigated, and he pawns it off, and he gives it to Woody, partly out of the goodness of its heart, and partly because he got investigated, and now isn't allowed to run shows by himself. Again, a lot of lore for what I originally thought was a kid's show. But man, the creative minds behind that are so interesting. I want to study their brain. Not in a, like, stabby kind of way, but more of an I'm curious about how you work and how you came up with these things kind of way. Ah, crap. Swapped modes by accident. I wish to know what your chemical composition has decreed in order to make this animation a reality. Reality itself is very interesting. Pardon me if I get existential for a second. But, reality itself is kind of interesting. It's the whole I think therefore I am thing. It wouldn't really matter if we were in a simulation or not, because everything that we've ever known is real to us. So even if we were to find that out, what would we even do with that information? It wouldn't really be groundbreaking or terrifying, it just would be. And sure, if we find ways out of it, because humanity is incredibly insane, and would probably do something like that, what would you even do in that situation? It's interesting, yes, but there are no really plausible consequences. It's still the world we live in, and it's the world we'll always live in. I'm sorry, I just randomly delved into simulation theory, which is not really where I was going with that. I find it interesting how we, chemical soup, have decreed we are the most evolved form of said chemical soup. I believe there is, I don't remember the name, but there's a bit of literature on how we describe ourselves as, like, the most recent thing, and then this guy travels in time and asks a jellyfish, and he goes, and then there were us, and what about what's after you? We don't know, we are us. Alright, you existential little brainless immortal thing. But yeah, it's very interesting. there isn't much to do when it comes to that sort of thing. All we can do is realize that's where we stand now, and we should try and make it the best experience we can, because everyone deserves at least a nice existence, since we only ever get one. And that's why I don't understand how people can be so cruel to others, try to dictate what they wear or what they do or how they act or what they believe. You only get one real chance to be something, and you're gonna waste it on trying to tell other people what to be. We're all living for the first time, and we shouldn't try to dictate that experience for anyone else. It's already confusing enough without that sort of thing. Trying to tell somebody what they can or can't do. A life not lived for yourself, I think, would be one not worth repeating if given the chance. But a life that you fully get to choose and dictate without harming others is one that I think would be worth revisiting every time if I was given the opportunity to. There are definitely things I would change if I could just retcon parts of my life. That'd be pretty funny. Imagine if that's your afterlife. You just get to go back and redo it. Oh, it's probably gonna be called rebirth theory or something. I'm so sorry. Don't know what it's like to Why isn't that working? I think something's wrong. Great. Oh, I think I was using the wrong thing. Yep, I was. Good. Wrong lever! Pull the lever, Grunk. Wrong lever! Why do we even have that lever? Ah, that's my favorite gag. Apparently that movie was completely unscripted. I'd believe it. What absolute chaos! But it was the fun kind of chaos now, wasn't it? So uniformly, it's hardly good job and considered for me. I'm sorry. I said I'd never do that again. Damn. Alright. How do y'all like cupcakes? You know what? Let's talk about something more interesting. Vocal stems. I have a few. I will just, when I am bored or excited or happy, I will just randomly go around and ask people if they know the Muffin Man. So, dear viewer, do you know the Muffin Man? Okay, I'm sorry. Who lives on Drury Lane? I don't even think I've ever watched Shrek. I don't think that comes from there either. I think it's a nursery rhyme. Big day for all the 2 people who didn't know it was from a nursery rhyme. What the hell happened here? As for other ticks, I have these weird ones. I call them cold ticks. Because sometimes when I'm really cold, I'll randomly jerk my head back. It's not like Tourette's or anything. I think it's like a sensory thing. Body telling me I'm just a bit too chilly. Trying to seamlessly add my sphere pattern back into the thing. I feel like the most common tick is the leg bouncies. I like leg bouncies. Bounce, 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 bounce. Don't tell me you've never just wanted to go bounce on your feet. You would be a liar or neurotypical. Who doesn't want to just go bounce, 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 bounce? I'm having to remove so many extra edge loops to try and fill these in seamlessly. Yay, and there's smudges on my screen, so I could be completely missing vertices. Oh no, that's not what I wanted. Okay. Don't know what it's like to fall in love at all, couldn't guess. Anyways, I have no idea if this will actually be any better than what I was doing before, so here's hoping I didn't just waste like an hour of my time in storage. My USB thing is not with infinite storage. It is 2 terabytes, but it's not infinite terabytes. It's 2. 2 like the host from Teapot. Get out of bed. Damn. Depression can be a real ass. Especially for somebody going through something of that magnitude. And nobody's helping him. They just want him to get out of bed. As if they're completely incapable of understanding or considering understanding what's going on. It's honestly an unfortunately real allegory for how a lot of people see people with mental health in general. I wish that weren't the case. I wish that weren't the case. I wish they had looked at 2 and actually gotten them out of bed by being considerate, understanding, trying to help 2 understand and offer solutions. I wonder if they even really remember or care. I'm sure they do because they noticed contestants were going missing. I should probably clear it up. It depends on context what I mean by they, because 2 does use they them pronouns. I am not accusing 2 of not caring. Do not worry. Damn, all those thoughts that must be running through everyone's head. Also, Gracia is still in that air vent. I swear, like, half the people have no idea what I'm saying right now. And they probably left like 15 minutes ago. Once I started singing crappy covers. I have no idea how I'm going to fix this. I see a hint of a possibility. Sometimes I wonder if the media we watch, even the good intentioned stuff, can have unintended consequence. It's maybe a dark question, but a real one that I have. Could something with good intention give people the wrong impression? It's not unlikely. Hell, it's probably happened. But I just wonder how. A creator cannot think of every possible outcome when creating a piece of media. Even a team cannot potentially predict how an entire group may respond. It must be so difficult to be a show manager like that. Not really knowing what'll stick and what'll land. What'll hit, what'll not hit, what'll flop. It's interesting. It's so interesting, but yet also so difficult. There's balances to everything. A certain science. A knowledge of maybe what's going on. Probably not anthropology, but something similar, but for shows. How to predict what's going to happen, how somebody's going to respond to what you've just created. I feel like that's just human psychology in a nutshell. You could probably study psychology to learn how to exhume a perfect reaction. This just makes me realize that a psychology major, art major combo would be devastating for like it would be so good, but so devastating. The angst potential when you know every trigger in human psychology to make them go, no, my favorite character. Oh, but the rush of dopamine you must feel, knowing that all your study paid off, and all the attention you paid off. And oh yes, they're reacting just how you wanted to. You invoked a feeling, a thought, an emotion. You made somebody feel something, express something, understand something from your point of view. Learn something, even subconsciously, that they didn't know before. It's such an interesting thought. Here comes the thought. To successfully make a story that resonates with people. Triggers emotion, response, thought, discussion, and even alone being seen. The fact that an indie animation made it into theaters is incredible to begin with. Oh yeah, Think About 20 was in theaters, by the way. Oh my god, look at this messy ass edge loop I'm trying to make. I find the world really interesting. I want to know every piece of how it works and every piece of what the universe is going to be. I suppose that's why, despite doing art a lot, I somehow got roped into astronomy. It's because I was curious. And an infinite curiosity can never be truly satisfied on one small canvas. When there are so many possibilities to explore, why not focus on the biggest questions? Although, starting so big is I would say it's a good way to get burnt out. Definitely a good way to burn yourself out. Yeah, it's definitely a good way to get burnt out. Oh, burnout is a psychological condition where somebody takes on more than they can handle, perhaps in a job or a new position, or emotionally. Like, you want to be, like in the owl house, for example, you want to be the responsible one, where you keep everyone in check, but you don't take care of yourself. Emotional burnout leads to a state where you will snap at anyone. You're constantly tired. Honestly, it kind of feels like depression, because you are running yourself into sort of a state of mind where you're so low. Wonder if burnout is a symptom of depression. The two can be unrelated, but can they also be correlated? I don't know. I don't have a psychology major. But yeah, burnout is basically you're being overwhelmed, I guess, but to an extent where you sort of break down and start not being able to function. You stop being proud of your achievements because you're just too tired to really appreciate anything you've done. Too tired to do much of anything. Haha, too tired. I'm sorry. Alright, that's sad. I'm not gonna talk about that anymore. I say as I get on to probably more and more morbid subjects. I don't know. I'm an idiot with a YouTube channel that named myself after flowers. Because I like flowers. They're interesting. Nature is interesting. Oh, I think I wrote something in my notes app on that too. You know you have ADHD when you go from Regulus to looking up white dwarf spectral types to potential type 1A supernova. I'm not saying this out loud. Then clicking on the word petroglyphs from the sentence North America petroglyphs. And now you're looking up petroglyphs and writing it down as a potential galaxy name. Also, why do we call stuff degenerate in a scientific way? That's mean. Also, I only looked up white dwarf because it said pre-white dwarf for one of Regulus's companions, and I was like, what the frick does that mean? What's the spectral type for white dwarfs? I don't know. Star about to die, turning into nebula, time to 3D model a frickin' nebula. Thanks, Regulus AB. Also, Regulus's companions aren't listed on Sinbad. Why does almost every imaging device have an absolute seizure when trying to image Regulus? Oh, the answer is glare, by the way. Back to 3D modeling. I'm sorry about that. Or am I? You'll never know if I'm truly sorry. I should stop. Days go by so uniformly. I should stop doing that too. I'm going to annoy somebody by doing that eventually. But what even is an eventually? What is this forever that we seek to know and understand? I'm sorry. Or I know. Days go by so uniformly. Oh no, voice crack! I haven't had that happen in a while. R.I.P. to my viewers' ears. Yeet! Only thing I don't like about wearing Japanese clothing and sticking stuff in the arm pockets is I can't raise my arms to do a dab because the stuff will fall out. I can't sing in Japanese. What am I doing? That song's good though. I recommend it. I don't even know how to pronounce it, but I recommend it anyway. Let's think of something like Suzume. Collapse. Okay, that didn't work. At center. I should switch back to this version of that. Maybe something happier. What's something happy? Oh. Go hydrate yourself. Right now. Go drink water. I should probably drink water. Go drink water and ignore the fact that I'm not drinking water. It's so nice to just be able to sit somewhere and talk like I think maybe people are actually going to listen. It's so nice to be able to breathe and not think about what's coming up, what is happening tomorrow, not having to think about tomorrow. Well, until tomorrow comes, I guess, but then technically you wouldn't be thinking about tomorrow because that tomorrow would be today. Okay, that's a paradox. Oh, back to the petroglyph thing. They're apparently ancient rock paintings. Oh, also, did you know that Mercury is shrinking? Yeah, as the core cools down, it shrinks, and it causes these, like, cliff things that are called scarps. It's really cool. And it also feels like it would be a good name for like a fictional enemy. And then when you think it's like gonna be a fish or something, it turns out to be like this really cool, like tall rock elemental. And that's why it's called Scarp. Because it's a tall rock elemental. Maybe it even comes from Mercury. I'm sure they're found elsewhere. They're just... Oh god, I really don't like those sounds. You probably can't hear it, but there's like these very, very faint sounds that are like fireworks. I'm hoping they're fireworks and not something else. I don't know, I have anxiety. I feel like that can be, like, annoying to hear if you don't relate, but the truth is, a lot of people have mental health issues, especially due to recent events in my current... Oh god, I hate that sound. Current country. I swear to god, I'm gonna lose college or something. What is this? Oh, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. I think. Oof. going. You got this. Something annoying about 3D modeling. Yeah, we can try and focus on that. I would actually say it's the time lapses because they take up a lot of my storage. Which is why for a chunk of time I didn't do them. Because I had actually run out of storage. Which is ironic because I had like a whole bit for a while that I never ran out of storage. I even showed myself going through my thousands of files. Your girl it finally happened though. I ran out of storage. And it was because, 1, new computer, 2, time-lapse videos. So now I have this little 2 terabyte thing. I shouldn't say little, but I have this 2 terabyte thing, and I've already used like, oh, I don't even remember. I can plug it in real quick to check. Get the red light going there. Where's my settings? Why do I have the App Store open? Storage. Yeah, that's a lot of storage. All volumes. Yeah, I've already used up I've used like almost half a terabyte already. By the way, that's the brand if you want to buy one. They're pretty good, but pretty expensive. I mean, it stands up to being... Ooh, that's a good story as well. Okay, I'll tell that story next. Okay. This is gonna cover being irresponsible, so you get to laugh at me. If you weren't already. Okay, I was pretty irresponsible with my technology. So, my parents, when they first went to get me a computer at like 8, they wanted to get me something, I don't remember, I think I was 8, 9, or 10. I don't remember the exact age. I've lost a lot of my memories thanks to trauma. Anyway. But I say that, and then I'm able to perfectly recite facts that my family forgets. Alright. I think it's weird selective memory kind of thing. Okay. I should get on to the actual point. So, my parents knew I wasn't very responsible, being like 9 or 10. And pretty damn neurodivergent. Disclaimer, not all neurodivergent people are irresponsible. That is a stereotype. Do not support that stereotype, please. I know many people who are managing alright and not irresponsible in the slightest. I just happen to not be one of them in some ways. But, basically, they got me a tough book. A tough book, as it implies, is a tough book. It was made to resist stuff. So, of course, I explained this to my friends on one of the first days of school. And, of course, being curious 4th graders, we all took turns jumping on it. It survived. Completely unscratched. We didn't stand a chance with our 90-pound body weight. But yeah, that's the story of how me and a few classmates jumped on a computer. That school wasn't great, by the way. It was supposed to be student-led, but it felt almost too student-led. To the point we were sort of just, other than being given, like, the sheets of work, left alone and not really told what to do very much. There has to be some organization. You can let students lead themselves, but you do also have to explain what it is exactly that they're doing. Oh, that's interesting. So instead of any work that year, I kind of just spent it making pillow forts. Okay, they had these backseat pillows on the floor. Super cush, super nice. We all loved them. We spent most of the time making pillow forts and sharing earpods. I had this one friend that was that really liked. I think it was something called like My Singing Monsters or something. I don't know. It was like this freaking ice cream game. I don't think it was My Singing Monsters. I don't know what it was. Ice cream game sold stuff for ice cream energy. That's the only way I can think of describing it, but I have a feeling that I know that's not right. But yeah, I basically just watched that kid play that game. It was a nice, comfy existence for that year, but I did know that I couldn't live my entire academic life in that way. For one, I wasn't learning anything. So, you know, not really the most useful. But it was still a nice time. I enjoyed that year, even if I didn't really learn anything. I think that year is when I learned what Duck Life was, one of the old Flash games. I don't quite remember what year I first learned about gacha. I know it was early. Early. Because another Tough Book story, my dad saw it as a chance to teach me how to write a proposal, because in life, in various fields, you need to learn how to write proposals for things, whether it be for jobs or other various things. So my dad used this opportunity to have me write my own proposal for why I should be allowed to get this emulator so I can get this game on my computer. It's called BlueStacks. Excellent emulator, by the way. So I wrote a proposal, got my grammar brutally corrected by my dad. And that was my first ever sort of formal piece of writing. I don't think I still have it. I can try and look for it later, but I think I might have deleted it out of embarrassment alone. I wish I hadn't done that. I was proud of it at the time. Every draft, I walked up to him with this, like, little saunter in my footsteps. It's even more adorable when you think about it this way. Okay, so I have a genetic condition, and one of the effects that it gives me is, in addition to a lot of the symptoms of autism, but it's not autism, but we had to say it was autism to get benefits from the public school district, which was annoying, but the doctors knew, my parents knew, it was all for the best anyway. But, okay. So, it made me short. I freaked out my parents too, because I stopped growing as a baby for a bit, and that's how we found out I had that genetic condition. It's like, surprise, your child stopped growing. Also, they have this rare genetic condition that they don't share with anyone but their mom. But anyway, so just imagine this tiny little tater tot proudly sauntering up to their dad to ask for approval on a very poorly worded proposal because, you know, I was small child. But yeah, that was fun. I learned my lesson, got my grammar brutally destroyed. I think I wrote 3 versions of that paper. I'd have to ask. But that's how I got my hands on gotcha. I got my hands on gotcha for the first time because I wrote a freaking proposal to my dad to download a free game on an emulator on a Windows computer that would have already ran it to begin with. It was a different story on my Mac. I did have to actually legitimately full-time use BlueStacks for that. I still do to some degree. Thankfully, due to Apple's new update, I get to have these little buddies in my bar now. And I get to tear my 3D models into pieces and then model them. I didn't end up doing that extra bit on the core set this time around. Oh yeah, this skull is for a remake of one of the first 3D models I ever did. I think one of the newer sayings I like a lot is, make it exist now, make it perfect later. And that really does ring true. It doesn't have to be perfect right now, as long as it exists. And then you just fine-tune it until you're happy with it. And now we delve into the world of AI and why it's bullcrass to try and use disability as an excuse. And I guess sort of why I started doing 3D Gacha to begin with, because I never told that story. So what better time than a crappy topology video where I'm using a knife to cut things and could get potentially cut off at any moment due to my poor storage. Alright, let's see. Where do I start? So I don't really know how to explain it. I don't quite see things the way other people do. Interpolation from 2D to 3D is not an ability that I possess, nor is being spatially aware to add on to that. I am not able to take a 3D object and turn it into a 3D one. It's not a lack of ability in the facts that I just quote-unquote don't know how. It's more so I straight up can't picture something like that in my head. So I was never able to do all of the fancy animation angles or anything like that. I could maybe draw, sure, but it set me back quite a bit because turning a 3D human shape into something two-dimensional was not an ability that I possessed, naturally at least. So, instead of turning to AI, I decided that if I couldn't picture those things in my head, I would try to teach myself how to. Or, well, it more so went like this. I have a very ambitious friend who loves working on projects, creating new projects, although those projects are often never completed. Though I appreciate their attempts to try and bring their thoughts into the real world. I, at first, wanted to help a lot with these projects, so I offered to learn Blender to assist with this. They sent me a few tutorials, and I spent the next 3 weeks sobbing angrily at my computer. Because I didn't understand how Blender worked, I was a complete newbie. Trying to follow a tutorial that was not for newbies. Oh, and also the whole, I can't understand why it looks different from this compared to this angle. Why you look different from different angle? That's not me using monkey speak, I genuinely didn't understand. But that is why I learned 3D animation. I decided that if I couldn't teach myself to draw those things, I would just 3D model them so that I wouldn't have to draw those things. And surprisingly, learning how to 3D model has actually helped me learn how to draw in 2 dimensions. My art, especially the stuff in Ibis Paint X, saw a massive spike in quality because making these 3D objects helps me understand or start to build an understanding of these things that I previously couldn't think of. I still can't picture these things fully in my head, and I will likely never gain that ability to the full extent of my peers, but it's weird. I started off not being able to do something, so I just went, F you, I'm gonna do it in the possibly hardest way. Blender has such a learning curve. Also, the support on that first little short when I made that first chibi, it was insane. Not in like YouTube terms, but I had never really seen that kind of support on my small channel before. It was intriguing and also terrifying. I'm not quite sure if I really want to be found. I like producing content, I like doing these things, I like sharing my thoughts, my ideas, my stories. However, this also comes with public attention, which can be less than favorable. It ties back to the whole, you can do these things, but they'll come at a cost to you and your psyche's whole thing. By the way, Psyche, the name of my favorite Greek myth, poor baby. Wait, what was I talking about? Oh, right. I don't know. I never really anticipated wanting to be found. Not because I thought I would dislike the people who found my work, but it can come with, again, all sorts of unintended consequences of putting yourself online. you will never quite know what to expect or what to do when those things breach your expectations. There's no way to safely predict what is or isn't going to happen. There's no way to calculate what's going to happen next. Also, short tangent, unrelated to this, I don't like inconvenient things. I don't like MLA formatting. Why would you put all of your sources at the bottom? It's like you're just trying to not get people to look into it more. It's like, oh, there's stuff at the bottom? I'm too lazy to look at that. If there were sources right next to the text and people were curious, they could just instantly look at it, which is why I like what Wikipedia does. They have a hyperlink built in. It also makes plagiarism really obvious if somebody's not paying attention and doesn't delete the built-in citation hyperlinks. It's hilarious. It's hilarious to spot when you see a small kid trying to say they wrote something, and then you see those little subscript notations that might suspect they got it off of Wikipedia without ever citing it as a source. I never understood why people didn't like Wikipedia. They will tell you themselves when something needs further citation. It comes up as like a little warning, too. It can be hilarious when somebody edits a page you don't know and nobody notices it in time. And then you end up writing about raccoon lasers. I think that was a whole Steven Universe plot point, too. Well, it was like a little throwaway gag about how Connie ended up writing about raccoons with laser eyes because she did her research online. Wikipedia is trying to be a valuable resource. But there are still people who compiled that information. Plagiarism is plagiarism, even if it's taken off the free website that's trying to be a good source. Seems like it's becoming a good source for plagiarism. H-Bomber Guy's video on plagiarism makes me question a bit of my own work. I do my best not to, but I too use Wikipedia articles in research because they're the best free resource I can really get my hands on, other than the stuff that the data that I didn't have the skill set to quite analyze at the time. Life is complicated. There are so many things I'm afraid of doing wrong someday, especially now that I'm 18. I was honestly pretty terrified of becoming an adult. The responsibilities I'm going to have to face, and just accept it head on. It makes me really wish that I got better at accepting criticism at a younger age. I'm still not great at it. I don't mean to, but I start tearing up and everything. But I'm glad I made experiences when I was both young and about to become this age. I'm grateful for all of the experiences I've had and learned over time. I'm less grateful for some of the consequences of those actions and the utterly debilitating anxiety that comes with some of it. This is why we have therapy. I have no idea what my original point was, lol. And that's not a haha, I'm so ADHD kind of thing. I genuinely have no idea what I was talking about. Did you know that Stephen Hawking made a bet on black holes? Intentionally wanting to lose. That was strange. Also, apparently there was this guy. Also, I watched this, like, astronomy documentary that my teacher assigned me because, yes, they make actual astronomy classes. Wow, welcome to... I chose to go to a city college for my gap year. Oh my god, I chose to take a gap year and I ended up going to school anyway. They assigned me this, I don't remember his name, but there was apparently this guy who would laminate the scientific bets that he took and put them into plaques. He lost his bet. It was about detecting gravitational waves in the 90s. We did not detect the first gravitational waves until around 2015. He was a bit late on the draw there. I would say he was a bit late on the draw there anyway. Whoops! What is my one birthday wish that didn't get granted? Going to buy a telescope. I did not get to do that. My dad also owes me a teapot because he said he'd get me one when I was really young. And I don't mean the show this time. I mean, my dad offered to get me an actual teacup. When I was 14, I was angry, was like, why are you hogging all the teacups? And my dad's like, okay, I'll get you one in 4 years when you turn 18. That's too long. And then I stomped out of the room dramatically. And look at me now. My dad owes me that. My dad owes me a teapot now. There's no escape. I must be given a teapot. Also, I like spicy world ramen. I like that world market ramen that's very mildly spicy. I can't really have spicy things, but things that are very mildly spicy, like pepperoni. Ooh, so nice. And then I eat an entire bag of pepperoni and start sobbing. Because pepperoni is like the spiciest thing I can eat. The days go by so uniformly, tightly controlled and considered for. Every time I sing that, I wonder if my parents are going to question if I'm having an existential crisis and then try to call somebody on me. There are so many animation meme songs that would probably get you admitted if you sang them and somebody didn't know the reference and they assumed you were being genuine and actually thought that way. Sorry, officer, I was singing an animation meme. It's so nice to just be here. I am eventually going to get tired of this and start freaking out probably, but while we're here, it's a nice experience. Look at how I've untangled that mess into this. It's such a blissful experience. I feel so proud of myself. I'm going to have to repeat this. So, the aristocrat. I'm sorry, H-Bomber guy. I love his Aquaman joke, by the way. Sell their houses to two, Ben. Fucking Aquaman. Oh, that was in a response to Ben Shapiro trying to gotcha, climate change. He said, you really think that people aren't just going to sell their houses to move? And H. Bomber Guy's response to that was, sell their houses to who, Ben? Fucking Aquaman! I don't have a very good British accent because I'm not British. I guess we are gonna have to sell our houses to Aquaman. Aquaman isn't real though, so that'd be a bit of an issue, wouldn't it? I think that's the whole bit, that Aquaman isn't real, so... Again, sell our houses to who, Ben? The days go by so uniformly, tightly controlled and considered for me. Oh, whoopsie! Ooh, ee, ooh, ah, ah, ting, tang, walla, bing, bang. Shaping the outside of this eye is a little bit of a pain, but I think we're getting there. Oh my god, the poor UV mapping. And, well, it's not perfect, but listening to music and getting inspired and making all sorts of things. I'm glad for everything. And that I've come out okay. Despite some trying to make that not the case. Thanks, current US government. In the end, everything's gonna be okay. And the sun's gonna eat us anyway. Not quite confirmed the sun's gonna eat us. It's an interesting theory I heard about that the sun could just sort of decide to spit us out via gravitational shenanigans. The way a star of the sun's mass dies is by ejecting its outer layers because it cannot sustain further fusion. And it also doesn't have the mass to collapse, so it just starts pulsing and losing matter into a nebula. Or the star, the nebula, I'm sorry. Alright, that's what we got. I'm pretty happy. There is still work to be done, though. I don't know how long I've been doing this for now. If I had to pick a star out of all the stars in the sky, I wonder which one I would pick. And based on what category or criteria? So many micro questions and one big question. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me. I will cease before I get copyrighted. Look at how easy it is to select it all now. Wow. Look at me. And of course it doesn't smooth properly. Oh well. So much cleaner. I'm going to have to repeat this on a second eye. I am going to have to repeat that process and fix a hole in another eye. I could just do it the lazy way, but I feel like the lazy way would actually be more work in this case. Why? 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 Let me know if you want. Oh my god. You know what? We are doing this the lazy way. Give me that. It appears to not be an option. Good thing I increased my undo ability, which is available in settings, I believe. Thanks, crappily made topology. Oh, I so just want to give up. Oh my god. Why? I even had mirror on and it didn't even fix anything. Oh my god. Well, while I'm here, I should do something. Project from view. Scale it down. Shift it over. Back into its slot. And we have back that beautiful white sclera from before. Speaking of, oh my god. We're gonna really quick go through and fix this. There we go. Stuck in an unused corner. As for the stuff on the inside. That's right. In addition to not being good at topology, I'm not good at UV mapping either. Just shove it all in the color I want it to go in. And pray nobody yells at me for it. If this was a professional job, I would so be screwed. Alright, that's some of that monstrosity sorted out. Thanks to the knife treatment. I just pressed tab on accident. Let's see. Do I have any more stories to tell before I leave? I could talk about some of my old favorite camp skits. At the old public camp I went to, which was originally great for neurodivergent people, but then became kind of bad. My mom went to it when she was a small little lass. They, being a camp, have campfire nights. And they would allow us to do skits. Granted, the adults got the first go at it, because of course they did. And so, on the night that we were told to make these skits, my favorite one was Pebbles. It starts in a classroom scene, and a teacher is wondering why all of her students appear to be late. So she asks the first kid who comes in, "Oh, what are you doing?" And you get the fun part about this is you actually get to make the response up as long as it includes the word pebbles, like I was throwing pebbles, I was playing with pebbles, I was juggling pebbles. It all plays in to the punchline. Once all of the students, except one, pile in, the last student comes in like this whole ridiculous getup of a, like cast, the whole ordeal. I think you can tell where this is going, but the teacher asks the student, "Who are you?" And the unfortunate little miss responds, "I'm Pebbles," before promptly collapsing. It's morbid in concept, but I liked it because I thought that it was nice wordplay. Another one was called Supersize Me. Well, that one's actually kind of boring. Ooh, missing out on the best things in life. Okay. There's a lineup of people in, like, they're pretending to row a boat, so. And as they row the boat, they talk about various subjects, like, for example, have you ever flown a kite? And then they'll say, and then when told, no, I haven't, and they'll say, well, you're missing out on one of the best things in life. This continues for some time, until the boat tips over, and we see that they're all struggling to swim, and the final, except for one, and the final person who can swim says, oh, have you ever all learned how to swim? And the rest say no, and they respond with, well, you're missing out on one of the best things in life. More like someone could have saved their life, haha. Oh, I see what's going on. That's not as subdivided as the others. Okay. What else? Okay. I could tell one from my recent camp. It's not quite as funny, but it's called Jello. It's more on the absurdism side. Not everyone will really like it, but a kid complains to their father that they're hungry, and they're like, oh, I'll feed you in the morning, don't worry, just go to bed. And so, being obedient, they go to sleep. Oh, crap. Because of course they do. You do what you're told when you're a kid. And they wake up in this land where there's a guy just constantly saying, Jello! And my favorite part about it was they were doing this stupid little dance. It was like this little absurdism thing. And they ask for food, and they bring out Jello. And every time they keep asking for a different food item, but all the man has is Jello. And then at the end, they wake up, and it's morning, and they said, oh, since you were so, and the parent comes back in and says, oh, since you were so hungry, I got you a little something special. And the kid goes, oh, what is it? And it's Jello. The kid goes, no! My sense of humor is weird. You guys probably don't find these as funny as I do. I'll leave you off with something sweet those first batch of counselors would do. On the final night of the 1 week stay, they would bring out, I think it was actual candles at some point, but they stopped doing that for obvious reasons because there were like 7-year-olds present. They would bring out candles and would tell you to pass them around to somebody who made your time at camp special. And the idea was that everyone would get a candle passed to them at some point because everyone there was special. It was really sweet, and it made me cry every time. Although I only ever really got pity candles. As a neurodivergent kid in a sea of neurotypicals, they did not like me very much. But that was my favorite thing that old camp would do. That one ceremony showed that they, despite it all, really did want to create a sense of community. A place where every kid would feel like they meant something to somebody there. They would also give us these dumb little rewards. They were like participation trophies, but made out of styrofoam, and they would point out, quote unquote, that cabin's like most commonly stated quality that the counselor noted. One year, I think we were the peanuts because we couldn't stop talking about peanuts. I don't think I still have any of those. I was so small. But yeah, that's something really heartfelt, I think. I can leave the— oh no, my mode swapped. What have I done? I think that's something really sweet I can leave on. The fact that there are places trying their best to make people feel like they belong somewhere. Like, no matter what happened during that week, you were important to somebody. And I think that's all. I have to fix this now and record it. It is so gonna end up on my little terabyte thing. Have a good day. Thank you for listening to me rant into potentially existentialist territories while I chops things up with a knife. Alright, bye-bye.